Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his 1-year-old daughter isn't his. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I've been married to my wife for years, and we have a 1-year-old daughter. We've all been happy together. They've helped me build a successful business from next to nothing. And I'm more than grateful for everything they've done for me. I met my wife right after I graduated and was trying to do or sell anything for a quick buck. At the time, most people saw me for what I was, but not her. She saw my potential and worked tirelessly alongside me until I became who I am today. Almost a decade later, I'm now the owner of multiple successful businesses, all of which I couldn't have done without her. We've also been married for 5 years, and our baby girl came into this world a year ago. With her in the picture, our relationship has changed a lot. We went from business partners in love to a family, and she started staying at home more to take care of our child. Meanwhile, I started taking care of more of the day-to-day management. I've always been the decision maker, and now I'm not just steering the ship, but also sweeping the decks and maintaining the boards. These changes had to be made. What else were we supposed to do? But I've been seeing less of my wife, and the stress of raising a child has not been kind to her either. However, I took notice of something in our baby that has me concerned. See, both me and my wife have brown eyes, and so did our baby. But sometimes when they're young, they change colors, and that's exactly what happened. Over the past month or so, my baby's eyes have been changing from brown to a shade of blue. And this has me worried because I don't know anyone in my family with blue eyes. Knowing what I know about genetics, this is not a good sign. Normally, I would chalk it up to paranoia, but the way she's been treating and talking about the baby adds to my fears. I've done business with her enough times to know how she works, and she's been acting like this baby is an investment, and a good one at that. It's more than enough for me to know that something's up, so I decided to get a paternity test. On one of the rare nights where I get to be alone with my child, I plucked one of her hairs as a sample. The next day, I took it to a lab and asked them to test it against mine, and I'm still waiting for the results. We'll update when I get them back. Update. Results came back. I'm not the father, and something tells me that she already knows. Everything seems too fishy for this to be an accident. I've mentioned that our relationship hit a rough patch when the baby came, but I don't think I've gone into enough detail. On top of the stress that comes with raising an infant, she's been acting cold and distant towards me. Every time I try to get involved with our baby, she pushes me away and says she can handle it alone, despite the fact that during the few times we talk, she always complains about how hard it is to raise a child. However, when she looks at her, she doesn't have a look of exhaustion on her face. So I told her about the DNA test and asked her what's up. Immediately, she got defensive, asked why I got that test, and accused me of not trusting her. In all honesty, I was losing more trust in her every minute that went by. But I wasn't just about to give in to that line of questioning. I said that her blue eyes gave it away and asked her who the father is. She acted stunned that I would even want to know, said that it was none of my business, and hurled another accusation at me, that I was trying to dodge the responsibility of parenting and push it on someone else. I said that this isn't about who's responsible for what, it's about our relationship. And in hindsight, my reply was a massive blunder. Right away, she started guilt-tripping me about focusing more on the business than the baby. Even though we decided that's how it's going to be, and her insistence that she be the sole caretaker of the child. I told her exactly that every time I tried to be a father, she didn't let me be one. To that she said, so what? If I really wanted to be a dad, I would have pushed harder regardless of what she says. She was unyielding, so I had to accept what she was saying. Fine, I said, maybe I wouldn't want to raise a kid that isn't mine and fell out of a cheating succubus. She looked totally shocked, backed off and walked away, but I know even that's a facade. I couldn't help but notice the smirk peeling from the back of her head. We haven't spoken since, and I think I know what's coming next. She'll serve me divorce papers and demand everything. When the dust settles, I'll tell you guys what happens next. Final update. I was right. The next morning she handed me divorce papers while I was waiting for my tea to boil. The date was from last week, so she's been planning this for a while. and her demands were outrageous. She wanted full custody, ownership of all my assets, as well as 60% of my earnings in child support, the maximum she could ask for. When I called out everything she wanted as ridiculous, she justified it by saying it's what she's owed after years of running my businesses. I could argue that we were partners and everything was 50-50 and all that nonsense, but it doesn't change the fact that this could absolutely ruin me. I doubt the judge would give her everything she's asking for, but even by a conservative estimate, I'll be in debt for the rest of my life. When I saw the papers, I knew that I had no choice but to take what I can and abandon ship. I spent that entire day going door to door to all my stores, emptying out the safes, and finding someone I can trust to be in charge when I'm gone. I also withdrew all the money in my bank accounts so that I have everything I need without a paper trail. When she actually comes to collect her haul from the divorce, there'll be nothing left to take. I spent that night in a hotel, researching countries without US extradition laws, and eventually booked a flight to an island nation that would be unwise to name in this post. I realize this is the nuclear option, but in practice it's more like retirement. I have enough money to live comfortably there for the rest of my life. And the island itself is beautiful with plenty of luxuries for me to spend the rest of my days indulging in. I'm leaving forever without saying my goodbyes to anyone. Right now, I'm typing this in the bathroom of a Wendy's 5 minutes away from the airport. And as soon as I post this, I'll throw away my phone. All my other socials are already deleted, and this one will soon be deleted too. With my online presence scrubbed from the internet, this Reddit post is the only record left that I'm here. Don't bother sending me any messages. If you're reading this, I'm already gone. I can assure you that wherever I am right now, I'm happy. And if you were here from the beginning, thank you. Goodbye. I'm sorry this happened to your marriage, OP. I'm sorry you thought another man's child was yours. Your ex-wife is a terrible person for making you think another man's child was yours. I believe that's even worse than the fact that she cheated on you. She probably planned this all along. So when you found out about her infidelity, it was easy for her to serve you divorce papers. Running away to ruin her plan is a great idea, especially for a man who's hurt and wants revenge. However, I do hope you don't get caught. You're playing a dangerous game, OP. You could go to jail. I wish you good luck. Story 2. I'm a 31-year-old male and my wife is 25. We've been married for a year and a half. Recently, my wife has gone back to school. She met Joe, a 39-year-old single divorced guy at her community college. She claims he has 2 bachelor's degrees, claims he was a dual-service branch guy, Army Ranger and then Navy. He has a houseboat at a yacht club. Wife meets and talks to him at school every Monday and Wednesday. Joe invited my wife on an overnight trip to Catalina Island with friends on his boat. I didn't like the idea and told my wife I was not comfortable with her going overnight by herself with a guy she hardly knew. She decided not to, but then the same day complained that she wished she could have gone. I communicated with her that it would be cool if we both could go on a trip with Joe and his friends. My wife said that Joe told her he would invite us both if an opportunity presented itself. That invitation has not been made yet. What a surprise. In mid-September, she went with him on an early morning hike and came home around noon. After an argument with me in late September, my wife left our house and drove to his house at 11:30 p.m. and stayed there until 2:30 a.m. After she came home, I asked what they did together, and she said they went swimming with clothes on and watched the show Archer with him. She said that she needed to be around someone who did not want to cause conflict with her. Our argument was nothing major that I could remember. The next day, we had a fight about it. I was pissed that she left in the middle of the night to go visit this guy. I told her it made me nervous and unsafe that she did that. I also told her I was worried about her. She said she would not hang out with guys in the middle of the night from then on. On October 18th, she went to his house at 8 a.m. to carpool to the zoo for a class project. Our home is closer to the zoo than his house, so she went out of her way to carpool with him. We have limited income at the moment with not a lot of extra gas money, so going further makes no sense. My wife left our house in clothes she claimed were pajamas the previous night and said she changed to normal clothes at his house before the zoo. She claims to have stayed at the zoo for hours observing animals. She told me she needed to film some of the animals, so she took our camcorder. She never filmed anything. After the zoo, she went back to his house to hang out and talk. He also bought her lunch. She has told me multiple times in the past that other guys buying her food makes it feel too much like a date, and she would not be comfortable about it. She said that he just offered to buy her lunch and she went with it. She got home at 5:30 p.m. She claimed they just hung out at his house after the zoo. My warning bells went off like crazy. Later that day, I took a peek at my wife's phone and her text history with Joe. One line caught my eye. My wife texted him that she was watching a show about horny badgers. He responded with, "LOL, you horny girl." I confronted my wife about this, and she claims that it was just an autocorrect error. She meant to write that she was watching a show about honey badgers on Netflix. This is a legit show which I watched with her. She said that she was surprised when Joe called her a horny girl since it was not like him. The next day, she told me that she asked Joe about it and that Joe was just messing around with her. Today, October 24th, she went to his house at 8 a.m. and got home at 7 p.m. They went paddleboarding and hung out all day at the beach. When she got home and I asked her details about what they did, she got very defensive and said I just wanted to start a fight. She told me that she even told Joe before she left his house that she didn't want to come home because I would start a fight. My warning radar has been going off about this guy since I heard my wife talking about him. At first, she would constantly talk about him and tell me about things he said and things she learned from him. This got very old after a while and didn't seem right to me. She seems to have him on her mind constantly. I asked her to stop talking about Joe to me so much. My wife agreed that she was overdoing it and would work on talking about him so much. They text back and forth until late at night every day, and they're friends on Facebook. My wife claims that he's a very busy guy with a lot of friends, 2 jobs, and a busy school schedule. Yet he seems to constantly have the time to meet with my wife and hang out with her the entire day. It seems very suspicious to me. She will not let me meet him or invite me to hang out with the both of them. She claims that I'm too jealous and would cause a problem. She said that she'll let me meet him when she feels I'm ready. She keeps on telling me that it's okay for her to have her friends that she keeps to herself. She does not have many friends in general. She has 2 girlfriends she's known for about a year and 1 other guy friend she talks to at school. I have no problem with my wife having friends. I'm also okay with her having guy friends, but her relationship with Joe is stressing me out, and I have a bad feeling about it. She seems to be infatuated with this guy. My wife has never cheated on me in the past, and she claims that she never will. When I expressed my concerns about Joe, she said that she knows how to set boundaries with her guy friends, and that she would make sure that they were in check when around her. I asked her how she would like it if I was constantly talking with and spending time with a single woman. My wife says that I'm just being insecure and controlling. I know this guy wants to get with my wife. All the signs are there. I've tried to express to my wife many times that I wish she would spend less time with this guy and talk to him less. This has always led to a fight and my wife being defensive. It's even gotten to the point that my wife has a bed in the basement that she sleeps in when she claims that I'm being too heavy and that I weigh her down and that I'm always mad. This is not true, and I'm one of the most laid-back and positive guys I know. I have my own issues I need to work through, and I do have a habit of shutting down and not communicating as much as my wife would like. But tons of people around me like me, and I'm very easy to get along with. When we have fights and arguments, my wife talks about separation and divorce very often. I have suggested we go see a marriage counselor or have us talk with a third party there to moderate. But my wife has refused. We both attended a program called Life Skills together earlier in the year, and it helped us get along. But now she's in an advanced version of that, and I don't have the time and money to attend it with her. So she uses it against me. Am I being controlling? Please help. OP, if what she's doing is causing you this much grief, then you can't let it continue. Ask her how this would make her feel if you did the same thing. Tell her how much it hurts you. Tell her how it looks. Not letting you meet him makes you feel like she's afraid of what you'll see. That being said, I'm surprised by how much she tells you. If she is cheating on you, it seems she doesn't care if you find out, because she's telling you she's with him a lot. The point is, you're not happy and you need to do something, whether it be leaving her or getting her to stop hanging out with him, and to understand how awful the whole situation makes you feel. If she can't understand why this would hurt you, then the relationship is doomed because she doesn't care about your feelings.